So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, let me tell this to you. This is very important information. Just watching this lecture would be job half done. If you're just watching it, then these current affairs that we are about to discuss will quickly skip your memory. You won't be able to retain them. So, consolidate these current affairs in your memory by revising this lecture from the notes. We are going to provide our notes on our Telegram channel, and the link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. So it is for everyone to check out. But do make it a point that you revise this lecture from the notes. Okay? All right then. Let's begin today's session. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So let's begin. So daily current affairs, 20th of November, Thursday, and here is the topics list. You know, India has developed its own gene editing technology, which can be used to produce GE crops, gene edited crops. Okay, this is a very big breakthrough. Okay, so we'll discuss this. What are the ins and outs of this news? We'll discuss this. Then we'll talk about new royalty rates for critical minerals. Okay, mining of critical minerals is very important, and government wants to incentivize that more and more private companies should mine for critical mines. To facilitate that, to incentivize that, government has revised the royalty rates for critical minerals. Now, what is royalty? Okay, what are critical minerals? What are these revisions? What are going to be its benefits? We'll talk about all these things. Okay, so this is topic number 2. And last topic is with respect to linkages between services and manufacturing sector. Without manufacturing sector, services sector cannot flourish. Without services sector, manufacturing sector cannot flourish. They both complement each other. So we'll talk about this news item. Okay, so first topic is related to science and technology syllabus of your UPSC. Then second topic is related to policy and governance portion of your UPSC syllabus. And the third topic is related to economics, clear-cut economics portion of your UPSC syllabus. Okay, so let's start discussing all three news items one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that is India's own gene editing technology. Now listen to me very carefully. This is a very big thing for India. You see, gene editing. What is gene editing? All living organisms are made up of DNA, and in that DNA our entire physiological traits are written down. So if you change the DNA of any organism, any plant, any animal, its physical features are going to change. Now this can be beneficial for altering the physical features of crops to help farmers, right? Now the thing is that, well, there was this big breakthrough for which the scientists receive a Nobel Prize. This breakthrough was with respect to gene editing, and gene editing of plants and animals was made very simple with this discovery. This discovery was CRISPR-Cas9 technology. But the problem is that CRISPR-Cas9 technology is patented outside India. Okay, it is a foreign patented technology. So if any Indian wants to use this technology, he or she has to pay a hefty license fee. Therefore, India needed its very own gene editing technology. And we have done precisely that. We have created our very own gene editing technology. Okay, so what is this technology all about? What are its advantages? What are its challenges? Let's discuss this issue in its entirety. Okay, so India's own gene editing technology. So first, let's talk about what was in the news. So Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, has taken a patent of a new indigenous gene editing technology based on TNPB protein, a miniature version of CRISPR-Cas9 system. So the revolutionary gene editing technology is called CRISPR-Cas9. We have created its miniature version using TNPB proteins. I'll explain what this is all about. Okay, so this was done by ICAR, our very own technology. This technology, developed from the bacteria Deinococcus radiodurans, allows for more precise and cost-effective genome editing in crops like rice. Okay, so first let's talk about what is gene editing. Okay, this simple image will explain what is gene editing. So this is a DNA strand, and you basically cut one portion of the DNA. Okay, whichever feature you want to alter, you will cut that feature out from the DNA. Simple, that is gene editing. So gene editing is nothing but extracting genome sequences from the DNA. Simple. So you cut it. But to cut DNA, you require scissors. To cut anything, you require scissors, right? To cut DNA, you require molecular scissors. And these molecular scissors are nothing but proteins, specialized proteins. Okay. Now in CRISPR technology, these specialized proteins are Cas9 proteins. Cas9 and Cas12 proteins. Okay, but we have created a new technology in which we use these TNPB proteins. So we use a different set of proteins to act as molecular scissors to cut different segments of DNA. That's all you need to know. Simple. Okay, so let's talk about this technology. First, you need to know about the difference between gene editing and gene modification. You must have heard about GM crops, right? Well, GE crops are a little different. Listen to me carefully. Genome editing differs from genetic modification as it edits existing genes rather than transferring foreign genes. In GM crops, you take a DNA fragment or you take a genome from basically an external organism and then insert it into another organism. Okay, you introduce foreign genes into GM crops, but in GE crops, no foreign gene is introduced, only the existing genes are cut. Okay, so this is GE. Now, CRISPR-Cas9 technology, it uses Cas9 and Cas12a proteins as molecular scissors, but is patent protected by foreign institutions. And if India wants to use it, it has to pay a hefty license fee. That is why Indian Council of Agricultural Research created its own version. It developed a compact alternative using TNPB proteins from Deinococcus radiodurans bacteria. So this protein comes from this bacteria. What is the benefit? Well, the thing is that this technology is smaller and cheap. It's not that expensive and avoids foreign intellectual property controls because it is a foreign technology, CRISPR-Cas9, and there are intellectual property rights on it, patent. So you have to pay a license fee. You can avoid that with this new TNPB technology, making it easier for India to develop its own GE crops. Yes? Now what is its significance? Well, first significance is Atmanirbharta. Atmanirbharta has become a buzzword. It is being used in everything that India does. So it is very important for Atmanirbharta. We are independent now as far as gene editing is concerned. The TNPB based technology offers freedom from foreign IP restrictions, affordable commercial breeding, and addresses NGO concerns about foreign multinational control. Foreign multinationals control our gene edited crops. Why? Because they have the technology. Now, not anymore. Okay. Intellectual property protection. Indian Council of Agricultural Research has taken a patent on this new technology for 20 years in India. And for the entire world, they will take a patent later. What are the applications? ICAR released 2 gene-edited rice varieties using CRISPR-Cas12 and CRISPR-Cas9 technology, enhancing yield, drought, salinity, tolerance. Okay. Now they will do this with this new technology. Earlier they had to use CRISPR. Now they will use TNPB technology. And the benefit is because it is cheap, cost effective. So the final price of the seed will also be cost effective. That is beneficial for small and marginal farmers, lowering commercial costs. Right? So this is the thing. That's about it. That's all you need to know. Remember the difference between GE and GM. Just remember this. Okay? And we shall quickly shift our focus to second news item, and that is new royalty rates for critical minerals. Okay. Now, what do you mean by royalty? You see, there are so many minerals which are used in industries and they have various applications. But these minerals have to be mined from the ground. The thing is, the system is that if you are mining a particular mineral from someone else's land, you have to pay them some royalty. Royalty means that for every mineral that you will mine, you will pay some fees to the landowner. Most of the times, the landowner is the government. So government receives that royalty. So for example, I am a private mining company. Okay, I want to mine copper from government land. So the amount of copper I will explore and extract or produce from the ground, based on that, I will pay some fee to the government, and that fee is known as royalty. Now, for critical minerals, there have been some reforms that were conducted by the government so that more and more private players come and mine for critical minerals. Clear? So government conducted these new royalty-based reforms so as to financially incentivize private players to mine for critical minerals. And as the name suggests, critical minerals are critical for our country's economy and defense. Plus, currently, China has a supply monopoly when it comes to critical minerals. And sometimes China puts export restrictions. It is very difficult to import these critical minerals from China. Therefore, India feels the need to become Atmanirbhar in this area also. For that, it needs to incentivize private players to mine more and more critical minerals. And that is why this reform has been conducted. You understand the whole story? Now let's easily talk about it, okay? So new royalty rates for critical minerals. So what was in the news? The Union government has revised royalty rates for 4 critical minerals. Okay, graphite, cesium, rubidium, and zirconium, which are vital inputs for green energy technologies like to make batteries, electric vehicles, advanced electronics. The purpose is now the royalty reforms have been conducted, so domestic exploration and production would be encouraged. Okay, now more and more Indian private companies would go for mining. Then our import dependence would come down now because domestic producers will produce critical minerals and reduce vulnerability to global supply chain shocks. Given that China currently controls global supply of these critical minerals, and China is kind of our adversary, we need to be careful. Tomorrow, if China stops supply of critical minerals, well, India's EV industry, battery industry would collapse. So India needs to be Atmanirbhar. So these reforms are a step in that direction. Simple, okay? Now, about royalty. What is royalty? So mineral royalty is a fee paid to the government or landowner for the right to extract minerals from their land. Now, royalty is of 3 types. Number 1, unit based. Your royalty is fixed amount per ton of the mineral you are producing. Okay, so let's suppose it's 100 rupees. So 100 rupees per ton of copper produced. Okay, this is unit based. Then ad valorem. Now ad valorem is very important. Okay, in ad valorem what happens is it is not measured per ton. Let's suppose, well, you produce 1 ton of copper, and 1 ton of copper costs around, let's suppose, 10 lakh rupees. The price. Okay, so if you sell 1 ton of copper for 10 lakh rupees, well, that is the sale that you're doing. Your royalty will be calculated on the basis of the value of this copper, not weight, not tons, value. Okay, so government will set 6% or 8% of the value of mineral that you are producing. This is ad valorem, on value. Okay, and then there is net smelter return. What is net smelter return? Well, you sell this 1 ton of copper for 10 lakhs, but to produce this 1 ton of copper, you had to spend, your cost was 4 lakh. You were paying wages to laborers, cost of machinery, everything. So your profit comes out to be 6 lakh. So if net smelter return system is used, then this 6% would be on your profit, not the value of copper you produce. Okay, this is the thing. These are the 3 ways royalty is calculated. Okay, now for critical minerals, we are following ad valorem. Okay, and the reason is earlier we used to follow unit based for graphite. Okay, but government changed it to ad valorem. Why? Let's suppose the price of graphite drops to 1 lakh for 1 ton, but still your royalty would be fixed. Okay, let's suppose the royalty was 100 rupees per ton. Now you produce 1 ton of graphite. If you sell 1 ton of graphite for 10 lakhs, then also it's 100 rupees. If you sell it for 100 rupees, then also it is 100 rupees. So government thought that private companies are not happy with this by making it fixed. So government said that we will fix it on ad valorem basis. Okay, these changes were made. So let's talk about the key changes. First of all, ad valorem basis was added, shifting graphite's royalty from a fixed per ton basis to ad valorem system based on average sale price. Then rates were also rationalized. For graphite, it was 2%, for 80%, for cesium, rubidium, it was 2%, zirconium 1%, significantly down from earlier 12%. Earlier it was 12%. Now it's 2%. So private companies are more happy now. They'll be more incentivized to mine for these minerals, right? Now, what was the need for these reforms? We all know India is fully import dependent on some critical minerals like cobalt, lithium, nickel, rare earth elements, and silicon, essential for battery, solar energy, and electronics. Plus, China controls 90% of their supply. Therefore, India needs to be self-reliant. Okay? The benefits of these reforms: it will encourage investments in mining minerals. Okay? More private player will invest in mining minerals. Ad valorem system links royalty to market prices, making mining economically viable during price fluctuations. Then royalty changes provide clarity and predictability, which is again required by mining companies. And other benefits: now we'll have critical minerals, more and more critical minerals. Now we can create technologies like batteries, solar cells, EVs. So green energy transition and reduced import dependency. Yes, makes sense? But the thing is, despite these royalty reforms, still our critical minerals sector suffers from various challenges. What are those challenges? Well, structural challenges still exist, such as weak regulatory frameworks, rule system is not that strong, very little incentives for private players, technical and financial constraints. We don't have the required technology for processing minerals. You have extracted these minerals from the ground, now you have to process them. There are technical constraints, cost constraints, so they still exist. Plus, India can produce by mining, but you have to refine these minerals through processing. India has very low processing capacity. You know why China has dominance in critical minerals? Because China has immense processing capacity. So there will be no point in India when these mining companies will produce so many critical minerals, but India won't be able to process them. What use would be these minerals? So we need to increase this also. Okay, so these are some of the structural challenges that still exist, which India has to take care of. All right, okay, that's about it. Now let's quickly shift our focus to next news item, which is very important, and that is linkages between services and manufacturing sector. You know, at one point of time, former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan said that India should focus more on services sector. Then there are some economic experts that say India should focus more on manufacturing sector because manufacturing sector produces more jobs than services sector, right? So there are some people who say focus on services sector, there are some people who say focus on manufacturing sector. But recently, the chairman of Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister has said that both of them complement each other. You cannot focus on one by ignoring the other. You have to focus on them simultaneously. You cannot say we are focusing on services and ignoring manufacturing. Because if you ignore manufacturing, services sector cannot grow. If you ignore services, manufacturing sector cannot grow. They have to grow together. And why do they grow together? Because they have very strong linkages with each other. Now, what are those linkages? Let's talk about this, okay? So, linkages between services and manufacturing sector. Pay close attention because through this we'll understand a very core economics concept. So, India's services sector needs manufacturing to grow as the two complement each other. And there can't be a debate about pushing one or the other, said Chairman of Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. Okay, both manufacturing and services sector have strong forward and backward linkages. Okay, and therefore one cannot be ignored for other. Clear? Now the question is, what are these forward and backward linkages? Now pay close attention. Take a look at this diagram. Okay, this is manufacturing sector. Okay, and these yellow are services sector. This is self-evident. Now, manufacturing sector to produce something requires certain services. To produce something, okay, for example, they require transportation service. Without transportation service, raw material won't be transported to the factory. Then this factory also requires legal services if it's a big factory. If you require legal services also, you require banking services also, financial services. So to produce whatever this manufacturing factory is producing, it requires services. Okay, if you are focusing on services only and this manufacturing sector is well done and dusted, who will this transportation service provide for? Who will this transportation service serve? If there are no factories in India, what would our trucks or freight trains do? You need manufacturing sector for transportation sector to flourish. Okay, so to produce anything, manufacturing sector requires some services. This is known as backward linkages. Okay, and after producing final goods, then you have to sell them to the market. How will you sell them? You again require transportation service, you require marketing service, you require consultation service. To be able to sell your final good to the public, you require retail service. There are so many retailers, wholesalers, you require their service as well. This is known as forward linkages. Now, examples of forward and backward linkages, I hope you understood. Okay, so let's talk about backward linkages. Financial services like banking sector, okay, transport and logistics, then business services like you require consultancy, management service, legal, marketing, research and development, IT service also. Many factories run on computers. You require IT services. Then communication services. You need broadband connectivity now in every office. Okay, and public utilities. Public utilities are water, electricity. You require these things. So these services are connected to manufacturing sector through backward linkages. Then some examples for forward linkages. Okay, services sector require manufacturing sector also. Okay, services sector requires manufacturing. How? These are examples of where services sector needs manufacturing sector, because many servicing companies require furniture in their office, require computers in their office. Many services companies, let's suppose there is a transportation company that requires trucks. Where would trucks come from? Manufacturing. So manufacturing sector provides durable goods to services. Then technology and infrastructure, computers, hardware, LAN cable for many services companies. Then if manufacturing sector won't produce consumer goods, then what would these supermarket stores do? Supermarkets, these are retail outlets. Retail is a service, but it requires consumer goods for that. Okay, so services sector also requires manufacturing sector, and manufacturing sector requires services sector. There are very strong linkages between the two, so both of them have to go hand in hand. Okay, makes sense? Now there is interdependence. That's what is being said. The efficiency and growth of manufacturing depend on the quality and cost of services, while services expand through demand for manufactured goods. Okay, strong linkages promote industrial diversification also. If there are strong linkages, okay, then industrial diversification also happens. If India does not have good services, then not many different types of industries would be there. So this is there. Policy making fostering integrated development of manufacturing and services can accelerate GDP growth and all that stuff. There is a symbiotic relationship. Both these sectors scratch each other's back. Okay, so it is important. Now, by the way, this statement that both these sectors complement each other was made by the chairman of Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. So what is this Economic Advisory Council? Let's quickly talk about this. So it's an independent, non-constitutional, remember, non-statutory body constituted to provide advice on economic matters to Prime Minister. Composition: it comprises of a chairperson, 3 full-time members, and several other part-time members who are eminent economists, experts from academia, professors, research institutions, and industry. Their role is only advisory in nature. Prime Minister is not bound by their advice. And their evolution? Well, Economic Advisory Council has been constituted for many years. The current Economic Advisory Council was constituted around 2017, the current system. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. That's all you need to know. And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But it will add more value if you'll revise this lecture. Please do not forget to do that. And I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.